Hey, it's Chris Aiken from the Classic Metal Show. Most people know me as the foul-mouthed shock jock from the Classic Metal Show, or the no-nonsense heavy metal critic from pitriff.com. Now you get to learn the other side. My first book, Little Victories, A Tale of Divorce, Debauchery, and Finding Happiness, comes out on January 13th in paperback and digital formats on Amazon and iTunes. It details my real-world emotional struggles over a year that included a divorce after a quarter-century of marriage and the death of my father. It profiles things I did right, as well as a bevy of things that I did wrong with the help of alcohol, and how I found my way out of the muck of the emotional state that almost saw me commit suicide. Pre-order your copy of Little Victories, A Tale of Divorce, Debauchery, and Finding Happiness today at www.chrisaikenbooks.com and get in touch with the more fallible side of me, Chris Aiken. Sounds happy, huh?
Brand new Red Rain right here on your Classic Metal Show with Chains. What'd you think of that, Mr. Aiken?
Like it. Yeah. Like it a lot.
Well, my good friend Sammy Lee, we've never met face-to-face or in person, but we've been in contact since 2002, I believe, and want to bring my friend Sammy Lee, drummer for the band Red Rain, and the one who also makes all the CMS swag that I've been selling over the years. He makes all the shirts and hats and bumper stickers and all that stuff, too. So for the first time on the Classic Metal Show, I want to welcome Red Rain drummer Sammy Lee. What's going on, pal?
Hey, Neely, thanks for having me on. Chris, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for supporting the band and playing the songs.
Well, the fans seem to like it. I've been playing the Not That Way song for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and the people in the chat room go, who is this? What is this? You know, so we get I've been getting a lot of inquiries about, what is this? What band is this? You know, and they like it.
Well, we appreciate it. We worked really hard on this CD as opposed, you keep talking about Seth, which was a great project, and very happy about that project, and, but this one really took a lot more time to record. We kind of really, dotted the I's and crossed the T's on this one before we released anything. So we're really proud of this one.
Right. Well, you guys have been, obviously you're not signed to a label, and you guys put all your own personal time and money and, self-financed and everything into this band. And, I enjoyed your EP, obviously the Seth EP that you sent me. Do you remember how you even found the Classic Metal Show and how you ended up sending me that disc to begin with?
I absolutely do. It's a funny story. So we're all from Richmond, Virginia. Seth was, and we had played a couple small bar shows here. Got a little bit of publicity here. We started moving some bigger venues here. And my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, had a friend come visit and see the band and really liked it. And I believe, you correct me if I'm wrong, you were in Cleveland, is that right?
Yeah, Akron,
yeah,
Cleveland.
So he said, you've got to send a CD to this guy named Neely. He has a show on Saturdays, and, call. So we looked up, we found you, and that's how we got to you.
Nice. Well, you can thank Mr. Aiken for that, because he was my webmaster at that point, and gave me a presence on the web for you to be finding me. So it's like old home week here.
Well, it is, and it's and it's funny, like you said. You and I have never met in person, but God knows we've talked so many times. I feel like I know you. Very well, and you've been very supportive of both bands, and I can't thank you enough. I really can. It's a great feeling.
Sure. Well, Sammy, talk a little bit about and only because we're trying to figure out the transition.
Okay.
We're talking about a band that was 10 plus years ago with Seth.
Right.
And now this project. Talk about that gap in between. What changed? Did you get out of music for a while, or were you doing it just in different bands that didn't go anywhere, or what?
Sure, I'd be happy. So Seth ran from about 2000. We formed, I think, around late 2000, and we went to about 2005, 2006. And just a little side note here for you guys: the singer and the singer and the guitar player in Red Rain is Bubba McMichael, Carlton McMichael, who was in Seth. He was the singer of Seth. So there's both of us, just to give you a little side note. But what happened was, Chris, we did Seth, and we started to play, started doing really well, and like any band, some problems happened. We couldn't agree on certain things, and we just kind of disbanded. And over the years after that, we were kind of in and out of smaller projects here, played some bars. For me personally, I'm a little older, but when I was younger, I played cover bands, and I got to the point where I just can't stand playing covers anymore. I don't like it. I think there's a real sense of achievement when you can write your own song and people like them, and we got that with Seth. We were all original band, I should say, and live we played one cover at the end. And when people come up and tell you, hey, man, that's great, great song, it's a great feeling. So what happened was, after leaving Seth, we had written a couple songs before we disbanded. And one of them just never got out of my head, and I had gone and played in some bands, and Carlton, or Bubba, who was in the band, we had kind of played in some bands, and then he left and did his own thing, and I was out of music for like 2 years, and I just couldn't get the song out of my head. So I went back to Bubba and said, dude, we got to record this CD. So what the premise of this band was, at first, was Bubba and I were just going to record everything. We were going to do everything and put it out there, and if people liked it, we were going to form a band. We luckily found our bass player, Larry Moore, who, is phenomenal bass player. And the three of us gelled, and we sat in a room and, wrote Not That Way, which took us literally 5 minutes to write that song, most of the song. and then we polished it. But that's really what happened, Chris. It's just in and out.
Well, this is always a thought that I have, and I've really never had the opportunity to ask anybody, but your band sort of fits the model here.
Okay.
Certainly, Seth, you guys found at least on a local level, you found some level of success. But then you disband, but then you get back together to do a different project, but with some of the same people. How do you get past that initial feeling of, and I would relate this to anything anybody does, how do you get past the initial feeling of, man, this feels like I'm just doing something again that, that didn't get where I wanted it to last time, to where it actually feels new and fresh and, like a vibrant project again. Does that make sense?
Right. No, that makes sense. I've been playing in bands for years, and probably like every musician that's listening or whatever. And when I found Seth, it was a great band. We had some great musicians, a guy named Joel Benson and Kenny Tibbs, great guys. And what happened was, and Chris, you know this, talking to many people, is, the more you go on, and the more, and I say success. We had local success, and we played some bigger shows here, but the more you get that, we had a couple of newspaper articles. As that goes on, then people's attitudes change about the direction of the band. Well, we're not going to do this now for this money, and we're going to do. And so I always felt like I had a level head, and it was like, listen, no matter how much we play. I mean, for instance, and most people can say this, but we did a show with Cheap Trick. And we had a lot of people out there. We got a lot of success, and so after that, people were like, "Well, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't play these small clubs anymore." And I kept saying, "No, dude, we're a garage band. Until somebody takes us out of this city and puts us on a national platform, this is what we do." And listen, I love those guys. I still talk to all those guys. Obviously, I talk to Bubba because he's in the band, but I talk to Joel. I talk to Kenny almost once a week. I love those guys. But it just went to, just a new direction. Red Rain is not, I don't think, and maybe Neely, you might chime in on this one, I don't think Red Rain is as heavy as Seth in some ways.
Well, I think Seth was darker.
Yeah, very much so. And Red Rain to me is, and nothing against Seth, but, is a little, now that I took time off and came back, it's just a little more refreshing, a little more new. And that obviously is nothing against Seth because it was such a great band and great guys, but I'm really excited about this project. We've really put our heart and soul in this, and we can't. Again, I know I repeat myself, but we can't thank you guys enough to support us. Richmond music scene's tough. It's tough.
It's tough all over, Sammy. There's no thriving music scene anywhere.
Yeah, I know it is. I know.
So. Chris, I had basically introduced Sammy to our good friend George Mihalovic from Aftershock as well.
Great guy. What a great guy.
And what did you and George do? I mean, did you exchange some ideas or anything, or just basically chat about tunes or what?
It's funny. I reached, I called him. We talked. We actually, and again, going back to some of the Seth, we actually talked maybe about him coming down and maybe laying some tracks down. It's just the distance was tough. And him and I just spoke about, we basically just kept in touch. We didn't really exchange too many ideas, but, if I saw something on his wall about a project, I'd say, hey, man, love to hear, and he would send it, and vice versa. I haven't spoken to him in a little while. I think he's been pretty busy lately, if I see that correctly.
Yeah, he's...
I don't know, have you spoken to him?
The rebirth of Aftershock without Vic Hicks. Which is
he's a hell of a guitar player, man.
Yeah, George is a great guitarist. It's a shame that a guy like him who plays so well, he doesn't get any real recognition or exposure. But he's also over there, right in the same area as Xander Demos. Who are you familiar with him, Sammy?
I am not.
He's another guitarist. We had him on the show a few months ago, and he lives over in the Pittsburgh area, and he's another blazer. Yeah.
I tell you this though, and I'll toot the horn a little bit, but you get Bubba on a stage with his guitar, and he'll blaze. And you get him live, and he's phenomenal. And he's a phenomenal guitar player anyway.
Excellent.
And I'd put him up a lot with those guys as well. I mean,
right.
Guy's phenomenal.
Well, without getting into too specifics, What did this project cost you guys? All said and done with recording, producing, putting out some product, etc. I mean, what kind of ballpark are we looking at?
Less than $4,000.
Okay, so you guys putting up your own money and putting your money where your mouth is, as it were, right? Yep,
we certainly are, and we have the same guy that did the Seth band engineered and helped produce this. A great music mind by the guy. The guy's name is Grant Rutledge. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's done, I believe, some work with smaller labels, and he did some work with Guar. I heard you mention Brocky, but he did some work with him. But he is phenomenal. He's helped us as well. Sometimes we've kind of allowed him to be the fourth member if he hears something he didn't like, and he changed minor things. But I've recorded with him with Seth, and in the project before Seth, and then this one, and I can't say enough about him either. He's great and fairly reasonable, as you can tell.
Right. Well, you mentioned Guar. Guar is from your area, neck of the woods down there. What kind of an impact did the passing of Dave have on you down there?
It's extremely sad. Obviously, Dave Brocky was a monumental figure here in Richmond as far as the music scene goes. And I did not know him personally. A lot of the guys that I have played with have known him, and nothing but great words. I haven't heard a bad thing about the guy, and it was a sad day not only for his friends and family, but for the metal community, because I think one thing I like, and I'm going to kind of beat you guys up on this because I know Chris, but nearly as well as you know, my favorite band is Van Halen,
right?
With David Lee Roth, Chris. So one thing that attracted me to Van Halen when I was younger was not only were they such a great band, but they always put on a show, and I like bands that put on a show. They don't just stand there and shoegaze or do anything else. And I know Guar was phenomenal at putting on a show. So he'll be sorely missed.
Well, speaking of Van Halen, I know that you were a little bit ruffled over our Van Halen coverage last year when Chris and I went to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and we really crucified David Lee Roth. And
yes, you did.
I mean, how did that rub you? Did it really bother you? I mean, did it literally bother you, or did you find it funny, or were you just kind of put off by it?
No, not at all. I'm not put off by it. I found it funny. I am a huge David Lee Roth fan. I mean, but I also realized that, he can't sing. I mean, look, he was never a great singer. I've never ever said he was a great singer. But, and I know people, I'll probably get a lot of crap for this, but I would say he's probably the greatest frontman of a band as far as keeping the crowd, the jumps, and just continually keeping the show going. Never had a great voice, and the little voice that he did have is completely gone. But Neely, like I spoke to you on the phone that one time, people will go see Van Halen because they want to see David Lee and Eddie on the same stage.
Right.
I believe that.
Well, until you see it, and then once you see it, it's like, oof. Look, I'm with you. I saw Van Halen in on the 1984 tour. And they were unbelievable. They were as good as they could possibly be. And I'm definitely in the Sammy camp, but that said, the best time I saw Van Halen was that tour in 84. And right. Roth was amazing. But when you see Roth now on the stage, the problem that you run into is that he is so disconnected from the band. I mean, yeah, they're on the same stage, but they're not really on the same page.
Right, I get you. I understand that. I do. I understand that.
And I'm telling you, at this Oshkosh show, he's out swinging a sword or something when he should be singing, and he's not singing the words where they fit, and his between stage banter doesn't match what the band is doing. It right. was as completely disjointed as it could be. Look, I wish Dave would come back and sound great too, but man, them days are done.
No, they are done. You're absolutely right. But, for me, since I'm such a huge fan, it is a nostalgic thing. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but just to have them both stand in the same area is impressive. But I've seen, I have seen the last 3 or 4 shows that were in this area, and he's lost it. I mean, he's completely lost it. But you know what? No matter what, I take the abuse. I'm still a huge fan. I'm just a huge fan of his.
Well, what I had to laugh about getting back to Van Halen, is Chris and I were at the Oshkosh show. We had full backstage access. We were hanging out with Rat and Jackal and Dokken, and we were just having the best time. Here comes Van Halen rolling up in a bus. They basically had trailers for dressing rooms, and David Lee Roth had his own trailer, had his own porta potty. It was all taped off that said David Lee Roth only. And then the brothers and Wolfie had their other trailer.
And
you got to give the guy credit. His ego has not died down.
Oh no! And I was watching. There's a documentary on YouTube, and I'll turn everybody onto this. It was never published. It was written for MTV, but it never actually aired. And it's about the Sam and Dave tour. The tour.
I saw that. I did see that.
Yeah, I did see
that.
And Roth just comes off like the biggest arrogant douchebag.
Yeah, he does come off arrogant. But I love it. It's because I don't. For me, and again, I think he believes some of it, but I also think he does it for comical purposes. I really believe that. I think he just likes to get a rise out of people. But
he does. But at the same, when you get the best rise out of him, when you can act like a douchebag and then fucking deliver the goods. And
right.
I hate this guy with a passion, but Axl Rose tends to deliver the goods most of the time, and he acts like a total douche where people hate him.
Right.
Yeah, Gene Simmons, another guy. Gene Simmons, total douchebag. But when it comes to delivering on a product, on a movie, on a product that he's putting out on anything,
he's 100% in.
Yeah,
I get you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'll never change my allegiance, but I'm with you.
Well,
there's nothing anybody can say anything about David Lee that's going to take me away, which is awful. But but I just. One thing is, and we'll go back to the old days of Van Halen real quick, but there is nothing like putting on Van Halen 1, nothing, and having an ice cold drink and just listening to that. It just rocks your world.
Sure,
and that CD changed my life. So
well, swinging this back around to your project.
Yes,
Sammy,
let's swing it back around. Okay,
to Red Rain, the your first single, Not That Way, has a very Van Halen guitar intro.
Yeah.
That was that intentional?
You'd have to ask Bubba that one. I don't know if it was intentional. I remember we had gotten into the practice room, and he walked in and said, "Hey, listen to this." He started playing it, and 3 minutes and 10 seconds later, we had the music down.
Yeah,
really, that's really what it was. And then of course we had to polish it up a little bit, but that's really how it went.
It's almost like an Ain't Talking About Love intro.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, and I got to say that when I first gave you the demo, you said you thought it sounded like Rat. I didn't see. Remember, is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah, it kind of had like a Back for More type thing, but that was still in that same era. And then, of course, the final reminded me of an intro of a Van Halen guitar intro.
Right.
So I
love it. I mean, I'm glad we're compared to that.
Well, but being that you're such a fan, I was just wondering if that was kind of intentional, kind of like paying homage to somebody that you really admire or look up to.
I would love to give you the answer yes, but I don't know how to play guitar. I don't know how to play bass. So if it sounded good to me, I just picked up my drumsticks and started playing. That's really how it. You'd have to ask Bubba if that's where he got it inspiration from. But for me. Actually, I'll tell you this. I should tell you this. When I first heard it, it sounded like the Cult to me.
I didn't pick that up at all, and I'm a huge Cult fan, and Chris absolutely hates the Cult.
Yeah, I can't stand the Cult. So the fact that I didn't hate that song, it has no reference to the Cult.
Yeah, I didn't. Okay. Didn't resonate Cult to me. It sounded Van Halen to me.
Well, then, Chris, it's like we're paying homage to Van Halen then.
I live with the Van Halen. The Cult, I might have to have Neely hang up on you.
See, I love the Cult. Chris hates them.
Don't like them a lick.
Yeah.
I love old Cult, but it's something in the guitar. That's why I came in with just that snare and bass drum. It just kind of reminded me of that. But everybody's got a different view of it, and whichever one they like is the one works for me. Be honest with you.
Well, I can ask the chat room right now what they think of the "Not That Way" song, and there's half a dozen people in there that are digging that song a lot. Like I said, I played it at least once over the last 3 weeks, and people asking about it. Who is this? Where is it from? What is this?
Okay.
So
well, I can tell you this. We are now up on iTunes, and the CD is called Chasing Shadows. We are also on Amazon and Google Music, and I think we just got put up on Spotify.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
Yeah. So if anybody is looking for it, please come get it. And also, we'd love to hear feedback, whether it's good or bad. Make the second CD better.
All right.
So if people listen to it on Spotify, what do you make? Like a quarter of a cent?
Yeah, pretty much, because we have to, obviously we have to split it, and then and we kind of did this one right. So we also have a lawyer who, did that right. So he gets a little bit, and yeah, pretty much. So if it's downloaded 10 times, I think I make 10 cents.
Nice. Look at you.
To be honest with you, I don't know much about Spotify, so I couldn't tell you, but I don't think it's a lot.
Jim Iraq in the chat room says, "Where are the Seth songs?"
The Seth songs are on the shelf. We don't. It was only an EP we had put out. We didn't do a full length album or CD. But if he would like to email me at Red Rain Info, I'll send him a copy. But we would really prefer him to like Red Rain. That's what we're pushing.
But we like
That's
demons,
the one
though.
we're
God
pushing.
damn it, we like demons.
Yeah, damn it, it's Red Rain. God, no, but I mean, whatever people like, we appreciate. But we, like I said, Larry and Bubba and I want to thank you and Chris a lot for really, really pushing the CD. We can't thank you enough.
Well, you're going to be featured on Ron Keel's The Streets of Rock and Roll. I did a segment for Red Rain coming up this week on The Streets of Rock and Roll, so a lot more people are going to hear you this week, too.
Well, fantastic. And that's what, Wednesday? Is that what you said?
Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday. Okay. Well, we'll all be listening.
All right. So
Okay.
where can people find out about Red Rain? Why don't you throw all the plugs out there?
Okay, so we're at www.redrainrva.com.
What does the RVA stand for?
Richmond, Virginia.
I was wondering about that. You threw me that link the other day, and I was just like, "What's with the RVA?"
Yeah, I think there was and I might not have this right, but
Well,
there might be a
movie. There's a movie out there that's called
a movie
Red
and a
Rain.
clothing line.
Right.
I think. So we threw RVA in. There's not much on the website yet. We're still in the practice mode and looking for a good show, which we will be posting soon. So just stay tuned for that. And then we're on Facebook as well, which is I think Red Rain Band is what we are.
You think?
On Facebook?
No, it's Red Rain Rocks.
Is it, see, I don't even know. Red Rain Rocks. There you go.
Nice.
I don't even know that. I'm not. I don't keep up with that part.
See, I don't do that shit either, Sammy. I leave that up to Chris.
I'm very computer illiterate.
He's a total Facebook computer geek guy. I just stay out of that shit. I don't care about it.
Yeah, but Bubba and Larry do all that work. I do all the paperwork. I work with a lawyer, which is just boring stuff.
Right.
So that's my job.
Well, we all have a good chemistry with our partners. Chris and I, I run the show. I pay the bills. Chris puts in the sweat equity, and we got a good partnership. And
Yep.
Sounds like you guys do kind of the same thing.
We do. Well, we have a great relationship, and we anything that the band does to move forwards or move sideways is all discussed between the three members, and no one person gets the vote. It's the three of us. We're all on the same page, or we're not doing it, and that's great. So far, it's been great. I love playing with these guys. Great musicians and great friends. So
Excellent.
We're excited.
Cool. All right. Well, what's the plan for Red Rain? You guys got any gigs lined up? Anything that you're planning for the summer, spring months? Are you planning on, do you have any kind of like representation will get you hooked up with maybe opening up for some shows or something, get some good exposure?
If anybody's listening, we would love representation.
Chris?
We're working on that. We're working on, we're still sending some of the CDs out with some promo packed. Our goal is to play bigger shows. We have not booked a show yet here due to some personal things that we're dealing with. A couple of members, myself one, but we are practicing. We are ready, and we will be booking a show here somewhere in Richmond. Hopefully, beginning to middle of summer. But we are looking for somebody who can put us on some good bills. That's what we're really looking for. I'm not even sure if we're looking for any kind of like record deal. If there's any, even I know there's not many out there anyway. But because we just want to play,
sure.
And we like to play in front of a lot of people, like anybody else.
Right.
So
that's
our goal.
Goddamn, Chipper. Someone from Virginia named Bubba. Shocking.
Yeah. Well, that's Bubba. That's my guitar player and singer.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think he's just going by Bubba. I don't know if he's going by his real name.
Nice.
So.
All right. Well, go visit the guys over at Red Rain. That's REDREIGN R. It's
RVA.
Yeah, RVA, Richmond, Virginia.
One more thing. If anybody wants to reach out, we are also at redraininfo@gmail.com.
Okay. All right. Well, go buy their CD. Support a local band, man. These guys put their own money and their own heart and soul into their music, and nobody's paying their bills, and they don't have a record deal, but they're putting out the music, so it's good stuff. So, well, Sam, I appreciate you coming on the show, kind of like last minute here, and joining us. And I'm glad you like the CMS. So, after all these years of listening to us, do you like the old version or what Chris and I do now?
Nah, you guys are on fire now. With the exception of the David Lee Roth stuff, you guys are on fire.
You listen to the podcast every week, right?
Yep, I certainly do.
Yeah,
I certainly do. And no, the show's great, and you're right. You and Chris have great chemistry, and we listen. There's some times that obviously we can't, but I'm listening 99% of the time live. If not, I listen to the podcast.
Sure. All right, cool. All right, well, we'll let you pick a closing song, take us out of this interview here off this new Chasing Shadows release. So what do you think we should play and why?
Let's play Helpless.
Okay.
And the reason why is because you'll play it first.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, go buy the CD. I think you'll really dig it. Again, these guys are independent. They're doing it all themselves, and help them out. So here it is. This is Red Rain with Helpless exclusively here. What, Sammy?
On the Classic Metal Show, and thanks, guys.
No more trust, no hand of God, no chance of being saved. You're listening to the two guys who are single-handedly ruining the Brotherhood of Metal, Chris and Neely, and the Classic Metal Show.